This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Global and U.S. oil demand growth next year will not meet prior forecasts due to weakening economic activity in China and North America, the U.S. Energy Information Administration, EIA, said on Tuesday in its short-term energy outlook report. World oil demand is expected to grow 1.2 million barrels per day to 104.3 million barrels of oil per day next year, about 300,000 barrels of oil per day below prior forecasts, the EIA said. Demand would come in at around 103.1 million barrels of oil per day this year, a 20,000 barrels of oil per day reduction on prior forecasts, the EIA said. The administration's reductions to this year's outlook reflect declining imports and refinery runs in China, the top buyer of crude in international markets, the EIA said.
Oil prices steadied in Asian trading on Wednesday, as traders weighed uncertainty surrounding developments in the Middle East conflict against continued bearish fundamentals. Brent crude futures rose 11 cents, or 0.14%, to $77.29 a barrel by 0223 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate futures rose 3 cents to $73.60 a barrel. Prices had plunged more than 4% in the previous session on a possible Hezbollah-Israel ceasefire, but markets remain wary of a potential Israeli attack on Iran's oil infrastructure.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Renewable energy sources are set to meet nearly half of all electricity demand by the end of the decade, but to fall short of a UN goal to triple capacity to reduce carbon emissions, an International Energy Agency, IEA, report showed on Wednesday. The world is set to add more than 5,500 gigawatts, GW, of renewable energy capacity between now and 2030, almost 3 times the increase between 2017 and 2023, the IEA Renewables 2024 report said. It said the increase is equivalent to the current power capacity of China, the European Union, India and the United States combined, but not enough to meet a target set at the COP28 UN Climate Conference.
Marine fuel suppliers at Singapore, world's largest bunker hub, will be required to provide digital bunkering services and issue electronic bunker delivery notes starting April 1, 2025, Amy Khor, Singapore's Senior Minister of State for Transport, said at the SIBCON 2024 conference. The move aims to streamline ship fueling, or bunkering, processes by making data sharing between buyers and sellers more efficient and transparent, saving the industry close to 40,000 man-days per year and reducing the risk of fraud. Singapore will be the first port globally to implement digital bunkering at scale for all bunker operations, according to the Maritime and Port Authority of Singapore. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Gold prices were subdued on Wednesday as investors strapped in for minutes from the Federal Reserve's latest policy meeting for insights into the U.S. central bank's interest rate trajectory. Spot gold was little changed at $2,620.50 per ounce, as of 0514 GMT, after hitting a more than 2-week low in the previous session. Prices scaled a record high of $2,685.42 on September 26. U.S. gold futures edged 0.1% higher to $2,639. The dollar index witnessed a sharp rally to a 7-week high last week. A stronger dollar makes bullion less attractive to other currency holders.
Dalian iron ore futures prices dived on Wednesday, as an absence of further fiscal measures following China's outsized stimulus package disappointed investors and saw the market's previously stimulus-driven frenzy fade. The most traded January iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange was down 3.16% at 781 yuan, $110.54, a metric ton, as of 0302 GMT, after earlier tumbling more than 4%. The benchmark November iron ore on the Singapore Exchange, however, inched 0.48% higher to $105.50 a ton.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Soft wheat exports from the European Union since the start of the 2024-25 season in July had reached 6.35 million metric tons by October 6, down 29% from 8.9 million tons a year earlier, data published by the European Commission showed on Tuesday. EU barley exports totaled 1.53 million tons, down 36% from 2.39 million tons in the corresponding period for 2023-24. However, figures for several countries were incomplete. Data for Italy was incomplete for the past 4 weeks, and export data for France has not been complete since the beginning of the year, the Commission said.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to Trade Flow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at Trade Flow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.